How many times have you believed that what you're eating is healthy for you, only to find out that that's just really not the case? That you've been fooled by a lot of people, so-called experts, and so on. Today, I want to pull back the curtain on some of the worst foods for heart health. Uh, Things that people have told you now for decades, really, that are good for your heart, but have really nothing at all whatsoever to do with good heart health. Now, look, I want to use a disclaimer here. I am not a doctor. Seek medical advice, when needed. I'm not telling you what to do or whatever. That is up to you. This is coming from a guy that has done his own research. So I would encourage you to do your own research. Don't rely on me. Don't rely on any one individual. Do your own research and find out what is heart healthy and what is not heart healthy. The first one I want to start with is seed oils. Canola, safflower, sunflower, on and on. Those types of oils, they are not good for you because they are inflammatory instead of anti-inflammatory. They cause inflammation, and that is one of the top tier things as far as cardiovascular health goes, is inflammation. So you want to try and keep that. I keep it out of my diet. I don't touch anything like that whatsoever. And when I cook, a lot of people use them for cooking. I just cook with water, just a little bit of pure water in the pan and low heat. That's another problem with seed oils, is that when they are heated up like that, especially when they're heated up like that, even before they get to your frying pan, there is oxidation that takes place. And that's the real culprit here. And that causes the inflammation in your blood vessels. So again, do your own research, look into it yourself, and if you want to cook with something other than water, use something like beef tallow, ghee butter. Those things are much better from everything that I have done with my own personal research. The number two thing is whole grains, and what they do to your blood sugar level is really very criminal. They really spike your glucose levels, and again, back to inflammation. They're high in carbs, and if you've watched any of my earlier videos, I've talked about how I went from low carb to keto to eventually mostly carnivore, and I don't touch a single grain anymore. And I used to love oatmeal, but I don't touch oats. I don't touch anything like that. So again, that's something where you need to do your research, but it is, in my experience, something that caused blood sugar spikes in me. And over time, if you keep doing that over the years, if I'd have known this type of stuff earlier, years ago, I really honestly don't think I would have had cardiovascular issues. And if I did, it wouldn't have happened until much later in life, maybe in my 80s or 90s or something like that. But it's that constant blood sugar spike that is harmful. Another one, number three, for me would be fruit juice. Again, a lot of this is going to come back to glucose levels, your blood sugar spiking, the sugar that is in fruit juice. This is another thing that I love: fruit juice, smoothies, strawberry smoothies with banana and all that. But again, we're talking tons of sugar if you look at, I forget the brand I used to get some years back in the store, but I would look at the label on it, and now I shake my head as to why I got it, but it would have 46 grams of carbs or something like that in a blueberry smoothie, something like that. There's just something, and in juicing, you just spike that again. It just goes up even more because you've taken the fiber out of it. So, it's another thing that personally I would avoid is fruit juices. Number 4, be low fat products, things that have replaced fat products, like skim milk for whole milk, fat-free yogurt for, fat in yogurt, and fat gives food its texture and helps. I hate to sound like a broken record, but helps with the blood sugar level. The least amount of blood sugar spike you get on something is fats, good fats. They do not cause blood sugar spikes. And then the next best is protein. You get a little bit of a blood sugar spike, but not that bad. And then the last will be the carbohydrates, the juicing, that type of thing. When you replace fat with something that's non-fat, like I was saying with the yogurt, then you're taking away a lot of the nutrients that you actually get from having things that have higher protein, higher fat in them, and you condense them down to, it's all, you see certain yogurts where it's almost nothing but fruit in it, and that's even sweetened too. They sweeten it even more, with sugar or some kind of syrup or something. So that's another one that I would avoid. Another one, number 5, would be margarine and plant-based spreads. When I was growing up, I for the longest time I didn't know anything but margarine. It was a health kick, supposedly. It was a fad that we went through for a while. And when I finally tasted butter, I'm like, ew, that tastes kind of weird. But eventually, I got over that and started eating butter. But I can remember my mother, just buying margarine for years on end. And, that's probably really the original bad swap. They swapped good old-fashioned butter, high in saturated fat, which is actually healthy for your blood vessels, for hydrogenated oils, which again cause inflammation and clog you up. There's no really two ways about it. And margarine is basically, when you get down to the chemical part of it, is basically plastic. You're putting plastic into your body, into your veins, through your bloodstream. So that's another one I would avoid. And then the last one I want to talk about today, there may be others, and I may do more in the future on these types of foods, is sports drinks and enhanced waters. They disguise it as healthy, but again, the sugar in them, the many ingredients. If you watched the video I did last week on keeping it simple and eating one ingredient foods as much as possible, you realize that when you look at those labels, how many different things are in there that cause all kinds of destruction in the body. Inflammation, glucose spikes, blood sugar spikes, and then gives people blood sugar problems, and you know, a lot of them are filled with caffeine as well. And you just have to, again, you have to read the label. Be careful of what you're getting. And if you're getting something with electrolytes in it, make sure that it's a clean product, or just simply put some, you know, Mediterranean sea salt a little bit into your water. That'll help you too with your electrolyte imbalances. A lot of this is brought on by, from everything I've researched, you know, it's marketing, it's commercialism, it's trying to sell you a bill of goods that just really doesn't work. People, you know, making a lot of money off of it that shouldn't be. You know, I'm not talking even about fast food or candies or things that are obvious, you know, cakes and stuff. I'm talking about things that are labeled as healthy food. So be careful, do your own research in this. And if you like this kind of content, please click the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.